And whoosh, we are back again. Pain Toolkit in Conversations, and well, good to be back. Really, I think we've had a couple of months off, haven't we, Keith? Something like that.
I think it's been a couple of months. Yep.
Couple of months, yeah, or
Yeah.
is that a couple of weeks there? Couple of months.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, good to be back. Anyway, and smallest group tonight, but listen, that's okay as well. And looks like myself and Granny here from the UK, but we're a bit all north, we're being invaded here. Granny, the North Americans.
Right. These guys are okay.
Yeah, I know, I love them, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, nice people to be invaded by, anyway. But anyway, for people who don't haven't been or haven't seen Pain Toolkit in Conversations, myself and Keith Meldrum. We run these, I think probably every couple of months now, something like that. But hey,
Mhm.
listen, should we just go around quickly just to introduce ourselves, who we are, what we do, etc. So, ladies first. Grania, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Grannie Daniels. I'm a physio here in the UK, and I've been working with people with persistent pain for 30 odd years now.
Okay, thanks. And Joe?
Grania, I love that your cattail just came
Yeah.
across the top
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
screen.
It's because I've got a bag of treats on the table for Kate to try
Ah.
and keep her a bit
Photo
quiet.
I'm Joe Belton. I'm based in the US in Colorado, although I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and spent some time in Southern California, which are all very far apart from each other. If you're familiar with the US, what do I do? I spend time with my dog. I've been running with my dog, which has been amazing, and she makes me feel like a badass again. And
Nice.
she makes me faster, which is fun. And I'm an accidental pain advocate and patient partner and pain research and that sort of stuff, and just trying to do what I can to make sure that people with pain are listened to and heard and collaborated with in research and education and clinical
Yeah,
practice.
good stuff. Keith, do you want to introduce yourself? We should have been.
Sure. Yeah, be very quick. Keith Meldrum. I'm in Kelowna, British Columbia in Western Canada. I think Joe, you introduced it very well. Right? Sort of accidental. Sometimes I say reluctant advocate, but when I'm actually a civil engineer technologist by training, so retired now. But now that I don't do that, I do more spend most of my time doing advocacy work and some research and education, and yeah, just trying to keep this whole weirdness that is pain front and center, mostly with healthcare systems and providers to sort of help them in our small way change their thinking.
Thanks, Keith. And last but not least, Tom.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Oh,
yeah,
don't forget Sue.
what?
Don't forget Sue.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. There you go.
There's
Yeah,
still
Oh my
time.
God, sorry
yeah.
about it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sue,
I'll tell you what,
Sue, go.
hold on to them thoughts, Tom. I don't want to get me bad books here with Sue.
Who forgot Sue?
I'm
Yeah.
happy to go last. That's fine. You go ahead, Tom.
Well,
Let me hear your
well,
story.
Tom will
Nope.
kind of kick us off today, so it'll be a good way to segue into that. So,
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So yeah, and I'll be quick too. Although I'm not sure, I appreciate the reluctant advocate in you, Keith, but I would say amazing advocate from my experience.
Thank you.
I live a little bit further west than Keith, and by that, I guess it's a few hundred kilometers on the very west
Yeah.
coast of Canada, Nanaimo, BC, and yes, that's where Nanaimo bars are from. And I just learned buffalo wings are from actually buffalo. I always thought I couldn't figure out because it was chicken how they're buffalo, but I just figured that out today, so I'm pretty proud of myself. But I'm an occupational therapist, and I work with people with persistent pain. And Tom,
Well,
how about
thank
you?
you very much. Yeah, I'm a patient advocate educator. I've been living with chronic pain since 2009, and I kind of turned my life around from being a pain patient to a pain educator after attending a formal rehabilitation program. And I'm kind of I worked. I'm not as detailed as Joe and Keith in that edu in that kind of realm where they're up at the higher level echelons. I'm more hands-on
Mhm.
grassroots down in the down in the weeds with people in my Facebook support group and my education work with educate with healthcare collaboratives.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Kate, can I hand over to you?
You want to hand it to me? Okay.
Yeah,
All
go for
right.
it.
Well,
I'm not-
so Tom, we thought we'd start off with you because you've got some, I think, exciting news to share. And we'd love to hear about this book that you've written, and I believe is now published or available for public
It
consumption.
it is
Oh,
now
there it is.
published. It is now published. It's
Mm-hmm.
Trapped by Chronic Pain, Break Free and Take Back Your Life is the title of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this book's been kind of in the works for years. I wrote a free ebook back in 2019 that I distributed through my website and through my Facebook group. And then from that, it morphed into a pain course, which was a 5 hour audio visual course that I offered. And so Joe actually inspired me this year to turn that into a book because we're at this in this very uh, setting in January. We talked about goals and plans for the year,
Mm.
and she said something about a book, and she held up there are all these pages. You're gonna read from. You
She's
got them
gonna
right
do
there,
it again.
Josie. Look at that. You can do it. So I took what I did is she inspired me. I took all the information that I used uh, from my pain rehabilitation experience at the Mayo Clinic. I went to their 3 week pain rehabilitation program. So my time there, what's worked for me personally, what I've found out through my extensive research and my work with people living with pain on a daily basis,
Hmm.
and I turned it into a book. So, and the
Love
book
it.
was published live this week.
All right.
Well done, Tom.
Amazing.
That congratulate. That's a huge accomplishment. And that's so that was an idea that was sparked in January, and you published it in May.
Well, yes, but I had a lot of to be fair, I had a lot of the content
Mm.
already in the background. So it was just formatting it and it keeps me busy, gives me something to do.
I think you might be selling yourself a little bit short, my friend, but that's amazing. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So
Thank
can
you.
you and I've got a couple of thoughts rattling around my head because there's really nothing else up there. So thoughts rattle. But can you just talk a little bit about sort of some of the concepts in your book and how you see, how you see this connecting with others?
Yeah. Well, there's like several concepts that flow through the book uh, consistently throughout the book. Number one, there's hope. Recovery is possible.
Oh, I love
Pain can
that.
change.
Good.
Yes. Yes.
You can change the pain experience. You have the power. The person living with pain has the power. It's not the provider, it's not the drugs.
Mhm.
It's the person living with pain. And they can make those changes. And that's all possible by doing using active self-management. And the role of active self-management in chronic pain care taking more of a primary role than a secondary role of like when you have acute pain. So acute pain, you're taking the meds, you're resting, you're doing all that, but then it's pain that keeps lingering on, you change and you start spending more time doing active things
Hmm.
than you do passive. And it's by doing those active things that you build that self-efficacy and you become stronger and able to manage the pain and live well despite it. One of the one of the things I quote in the book is a concept by Ben Cormack,
Mhm.
physiotherapist. I believe he's in England, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ben Cormack.
Mhm.
He had a post once in Facebook called said uh, the key to changing pain is to not not focus on making the pain smaller, but making life bigger.
Mhm.
So making your life bigger than the pain, and
Mhm.
that's what the book is all about. So it talks about what is pain, explaining it. It talks about changing the narrative around pain and reframing it. It's not the monster you think it is. It's not scary. It explains why you have persistent pain, why it continues on, even
Yeah.
though
Mhm.
you've done X, Y, and Z and see 5,000 other doctors like I've seen. and it still continues. Why it doesn't show up always on the X-ray. So all those things are in there. And then it talks about taking ownership of the pain and changing how you view it. So you're not a patient, but you're the main person in charge. I use a quote from The Wizard of Oz. Glinda, the witch, the good witch, said the power was always yours. The power was always there. It was
Right.
something along that line. So it's so true. We just didn't know it. I didn't know it when I started my journey with chronic pain. I didn't know the power was with me. I kept thinking, oh, a doctor's going to fix me. And that wasn't the solution. So it's talk about changing that dynamic. I'm actually literally going chapter by chapter. And then the next chapter is on acceptance and the power of acceptance and why accepting the pain is important, what it means, what it doesn't mean, and how that plays a role in your recovery. And then the final two chapters, the sixth one's the biggest one. It's about self-management and those skills that we can all do to change the pain experience and what those skills are. And I touch upon those and how to implement them in your life, that sort of thing. The last chapter is about putting it all together and actually the implementation itself. How do you make it work? And so, yeah, it just goes from like there's hope and to you got it. So it's just kind of, but those main themes are consistently throughout the book.
So go ahead. Sorry, Pete.
I was going to say, I know you said Joe inspired you, and I think this is where I think I'll call it our self-management family sort of comes in really, like, because such a living with what a persistent pain problem globally, like, is massive. Like, I think the WHO is still quoting 1 in 5 people around the world now living with pain, etc. But there's self-managers like us, I guess. We're such a, in a big scheme of things, we're pretty much in the not a grain of sand on the beach, like, but we're so in the background, and what you're doing, Tom, is fantastic, man. Because it's another extension of what we're doing, really, like, getting the word out there, and I don't get it sometimes. It's just not, I don't, with the healthcare provider system, it's so stuck in a model that it's like it pulls everybody into some, I call it, this is how you manage things, etc. Like, but as you say, Tom, it's really the work it's got to be done by us, like. But for some reason, I've read, people probably have seen our videos that myself and Keith, we do sort of mini ones of these on a weekend, and I was listening to someone on radio the other day where it wasn't about pain or anything, but he said, I think he was talking about some other sort of system, like a system that uh, it was how it captures people, and he said, it's like this system takes people prisoner, and he said, but it's our obligation to have an escape plan, to escape from it, and but I don't see many escape plans coming, being produced by the healthcare organisations, really. Like, it's still mainly driven by, you know treatments, treatment focused, very treatment focused, etc.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so how do you see how are you going to shift this book around? I mean, obviously you've got this platform here. Are you promoting it? Are you doing any book signings or anything like that?
At this point, no book signings are on the schedule. I promote it in social media, been promoting it on social
Yeah.
media. I think I saw this afternoon, I'm number 33 in the chronic pain book category on
Mhm.
Amazon.
Oh,
So
cool.
that means at least I've had one sale, but so so that's not why I created the book. The
Yeah.
sales is not important to me, but I think, Pete, what you were talking about was people have to be ready for this message.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for this message
Yeah.
when my journey started. I think, we all were in that same boat. We wanted to be fixed. And it was the next provider, the next test, the next treatment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something was going to be the silver bullet, right? And you're right, there is no way off when it comes to a lot of the traditional
Mhm.
medical people
Mhm.
because they don't know much about self-management
Yeah.
and pain rehabilitation. Um, in fact, I'm in a discussion with a physiotherapist on a Facebook group right now, and he says that pain rehabilitation and self-management is not effective. And it's like, what? And you're right. It's not effective if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
If you're not ready to do it and you're not going to, you know, use it and actively take part in it, then you're right. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to that process.
If I can, Tom, two questions. One real quick. Can you put the book up so I can take a screenshot of it, just maybe right in
Sure.
front of your face?
You're going to see the little not for resale sign because this was my proof copy.
Right.
But
And Grania, if you
yeah.
can do the same for your cat. I'm kidding.
Oh, she's just there, aren't you? Look at you.
Very sweet. I
Oh,
did the other question I had, Tom, that is for I think anyone and everyone. Because I've asked this so many times. How, so as an occupational therapist, how when I know someone's not ready to hear that, what can I do? Or I guess the question would be, what was it in you, or what did you hear or do or come to realize that made you sort of switch that, flip that switch?
right.
Um,
That happened for me when I attended the Mayo Clinic program.
okay.
For me, because I saw other people having changes. And
Right.
then I started experiencing changes. And then
Right.
I just noticed little things. And once you notice little things, then it gives you hope and it gives you, oh, I can do this, confidence to keep doing more and to change the way I think about pain and how I behave around it and how I feel about it. I mean, I don't call it my pain. I call it the pain. The pain doesn't
Right.
know it doesn't belong to me. It's not my pain. So I catch myself. I say it sometimes, but I still
Mm,
call it the pain. I try to call it the pain, for example. So
right.
I think just reframing that, my friend Jim Stark, who's been on this event before, this uh, uh, what do we call this discussion? He he called it pushing someone to just see that they can do even just any little bit of a change. I can't remember the exact wording that he said,
Mhm.
but if you once you get a person to see that they can affect change, then that can build, and it's just a matter of adding to those. Um, yeah,
There has you're right, Tom and Sue, that's the million-dollar question for us as clinicians, isn't it? When we want to help people, we know what the benefits can be of them being
Mm,
engaged and moving forward with their process,
right.
and taking that leap because we've seen what can happen when people do that.
Right.
But it's like we can't necessarily ourselves, like with any other things, we can't get them there. It has, and so we're looking for what is that, is it
Yeah.
something that somebody said to you? Is it
Yeah.
something that's happened to you? Is it something you've seen? And it is sort of different for everybody, isn't it? Sorry, we're investigating again. And it's just it is the thing I just find most endlessly fascinating, and to to sit sometimes with the discomfort for me of knowing that it's just really clear that somebody's not at that place yet, and having both of us having to be okay with that
Yeah.
but that reassuring them, I suppose from my perspective, I'll reassure them that when they're ready to start that journey, we're our service is 100% there, ready to help them with it, but acknowledging that they're not there at that point in time is hard.
It is hard. I love that. And it's a spiraling down that I struggle with, right? They come back and they're worse. They come back now they have issues with their thinking and emotions and their functions less. And it's a spiraling downwards that is just hard to watch. Yeah.
That term my friend Jim uses, is expectancy violations. It finally just popped into my head. So expectancy violations is what he says. And it's just people they weren't expecting to be able to do it. And so, but now they're able to do it. And so seeing those, I think really makes a difference. And I just want to say, I appreciate every healthcare provider that I've seen during my journey, whether they were able to fix the pain or not fix the pain. They were crucial to my journey, crucial in educating me, crucial into empowering me. And so I'm grateful to providers like yourself. Occupational therapy was a major factor at the Mayo Clinic, was a major role at the Mayo Clinic, and same with physical therapy. So both of those. And so it was just what you do. I can't thank you enough for what you do, because you're the folks, working day to day with these people. And you're the ones they got all hopes pinned up on. And so I understand it. And that's a heavy burden to carry. And just my suggestion to you is just continue what you're doing, and encourage people and empower them, and local physical therapists that I just saw recently for acute low back pain that flared up. He told me challenge makes change. So challenge yourself, challenge your patients to change, to make changes, to do things beyond their comfort zone, to expand that realm. And I think that's a good thing.
That's neat.
Yeah. And by the way, he's buying one of my books, he said, and same with my family doctor, so my family physician. So
that's cool.
That's great.
That's nice to hear.
Don't give it to him. Hey, Joe, you
Joe,
got
Yeah, well, first I was going to say, Tom, that is impressive since I do still have the pile, but I have been going through it since our talk in January. Bit by bit, I'm going through it. But I was going to say for me, like what that turning point was it's not nearly as optimistic because it was years of living in the darkness, and it was being told by my surgeon that there was nothing more that could be done within the workers' compensation system for me, nothing more that he could do because surgery was already done and all of that, and that I was smart enough to figure it out on my own. So he literally just encouraged me to get out of the system and find my own path forward, which is a terrible position to put people in, like having to hit rock bottom and being
I feel
told
for you.
that
That's the
there's
scary
nothing
part, the
more
rock
that can be
bottom.
done.
That
Yeah.
scares me. People hit,
And
I see people going towards rock bottom and I want to stop them. And
so I have a way that I think that I just are you all familiar with One Thing? I think Keith,
Yeah.
did you do a One Thing? Pete, did you
Yeah,
do
Pete
one?
did.
done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just did a follow-up to that. They're starting to do like a 5 year. So I was part of the first season. It's been 5 years
Nice.
since that. I did a follow-up interview with David Kennedy today,
Oh, great.
about like what has happened since then. Keith, I quoted you a couple times. I'm actually gonna put this thing that Josh Pate made with AI. I have so many qualms about AI, but he used
Yes.
that first season one to create this module that could be used and educating clinicians, or could be used with a patient, which I actually think is pretty cool. And when I went through it, so I was able to provide feedback and stuff on it as it was being iterated. Like I actually teared up, and this is my own words and shit from 5 years ago. But just the way that it was put together in this module, I thought was really, really cool. And one of the things that David and I talked about today was the power of peers. Like I said, I quoted you a
Mm,
couple times today, Keith, and I talked about being friends with Virginia and you, Pete, and how like those friendships have lasted a really, really long time now, especially with the two of you. And how, because he talked about how I did it alone. When I hit that rock bottom, was told to
Mm.
figure it out on my own, but I didn't do it alone
Mm.
because I did
mm.
it like I met back when Twitter was a decent place to be, and you
Yeah.
could connect with cool people. That was
Yes.
how I met Keith and how I met Pete. So
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
do it alone. Like I
Mm.
found
Yeah.
my way forward
Mhm.
with peers. And I think that um I wouldn't have found that way forward if it weren't for those peers. And it
Mm.
wasn't from feeling seen and heard and understood by
Mhm.
them without having
Mhm.
to explain myself, and then also seeing different possible paths forward, and that we could do this together. So I think the one thing that we can do to kind of move so that people don't have to hit rock bottom in order to
Mhm.
see a different way forward, or don't have to be pushed out of the system, is to introduce them to more stories, more
Yeah.
peer developed, stories,
Mhm.
resources, peer to peer,
Yeah.
um like I don't even want to call it interventions, but connection um can help people to see that, because if you feel understood and seen by somebody because they have a shared experience, then you can also see yourself in them if they're
Mm.
on further down
Mhm.
that road of recovery or getting better or whatever that is. So I think that there's a true power in storytelling that we don't tap into
Mm.
enough, and that the more
Mhm.
exposure people have to people's stories, the more that they can feel seen by those stories, and the more that they can see
Mhm.
possible paths forward through those stories. So that would be the one thing
Interesting.
I would say, is just
Yeah.
introducing people wherever they're at to potentially more stories. And it doesn't have to be like something specific. It could be scenes from movies, it can be songs, it can be
Mhm.
art. There could be
Mhm.
so many ways of tapping into those things and seeing a different way forward that I don't think we do very good in health systems, because
Right.
we've totally done away with like the humanities in health. But there's in pain, the IASP's journal, Professor Zach and um, Deborah Padfield just published a, I don't know if everyone has access to pain, but I can send the PDF via email too, about their Encountering Pain book that they published a long time ago, which is free to access via PDF on the internet. But how using images as a tool for collaborative approaches to pain medicine, and using images, whether it's artwork or patient-derived images, to at least begin conversations. I think those are really interesting ways to maybe get people to see things a little bit differently too, rather than like our
Mhm.
traditional
Mm.
approaches. But I'll throw a bunch of stuff in the
Joe, can I
chat.
you're talking about the importance of stories and stuff. What's that Australian website? Is it our, I know you was involved in it in some way. Was it Our Stories, Our Recovery? It was
Oh, our recovery. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Is that is I mean I know I think that's pretty much is that sort of live now, is it or
It is live, but it's only for people in Australia.
oh
Mm.
well
Ah.
So right now, and it's because it's a part of a research
okay.
project right now, and that research is going to be done within the next couple of years. And I know there's hopes to expand it, but they're working with pain services within Australia to recruit the
Okay.
participants and everything for now. And it's all co-created, like people that we all know have been a part of
Toby.
that process of co-creating what the
Mm,
modules look like in terms of, self-management or supported self-management. And it's all peer-to-peer. Everything is peer-led, and everything was peer developed. So all of the modules were developed by people living with pain. Um, but yeah, I'll throw that in there too, because there might be some publicly facing resources
I'm
as well, but it's ongoing
mm,
research right now, which is pretty cool because it's patient, or they call them
Mhm.
consumers in
Yeah.
Australia,
yeah.
patient-led work that's being
Mm.
researched.
One of the things that that motivated me at the Mayo Clinic Pain Rehabilitation Program. And I actually attended the program twice. I'm like a beauty school dropout, right? So, but the what was amazing to me is how they structured it. There were 30 people in the program. It's a 3-week program, 30 people in the program at any given time. But all 30 of us didn't start it at the same time. So I started the program. There were people leaving the program that week. There were people that have been in the program 2 weeks. There's been people that have been in the program a week. So what you got to see is when you were entering the program is people having success. Seeing a guy get out of a wheelchair and walk that, or seeing someone who came in with sunglasses and because the fluorescent lights triggered migraines and not wearing glasses anymore, the sunglasses anymore. So seeing those changes just motivate you as a person, those peer-to-peer stories. So yeah.
And I bet looking back to a bit, right? So you're looking forward at the people who are doing better, but when you've been there a week or two, when new people come in, you're saying, "Oh, I have moved forward," because that's the thing is it's hard to tell. We keep moving the goalpost every time we move forward, so that's a really nice thing too.
I
Yeah.
really like that
And not only
idea. Sorry.
and not only that you notice it, I'm sorry, not only that you notice that you're improving, that you can tell someone that there's hope, that it can change.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
Cool.
apologize. I didn't mean
No,
to
you're all
interrupt.
right. I think that is I think there is something really potent and powerful in there. I'm just trying to think how within how the health service framework works, how we can, whether there's scope for services that I work in to think about trying to do that, because that's always I think our pain management programs that we've been running for years, that I was involved in a long time ago, I think they are really hugely beneficial and people are getting a lot out of them, but it is a kind of there's an 8-week program and then that program stops and then you wait until you've got the 8 people to start the next program. And actually, if there is a way to do things where you can kind of there's a number of sessions, but you don't have to do them in that linear way. You can start just when you're ready to start, rather than it being, I think I'm ready to take this journey on now. And it's like, oh, well, and the next program's not running for 4 months. So just sit there quietly until it's ready, sort of thing, if people can do that, because you're right, that's a whole other layer of validation, of benefit, of that seeing and experiential stuff of, as you say, seeing people on that a different stage of their journey where they can kind of go, oh, actually that would be a really interesting a sort of trial to do, because it would probably let you be more efficient with your use of resources and clinicians. You wouldn't have to keep just waiting until you got to that point of having enough people for the next group, sort of thing. You can just have people coming in and out. I really like that.
Yeah, and the topics, I mean, it wasn't linear at all, because like one day we might talk about cognitive restructuring. The next day we may talk about anger management, or we might talk about communication skills. So, I mean, and those things, it never was like linear at all. So it just worked really well with the people rotating in and out.
Yeah.
Now, the physical therapy and the occupational therapy physical therapy was more one-on-one, but it was, but it's still like, it just allowed that flow.
Yeah.
Can there's when I used to go and work in Germany with a German buddy of mine, Dr. Reinhard Sittel, and he didn't, what you described, Tom, was like a rolling program. But he didn't have a rolling program, but what he did have is that when he ran a pain management program in a hospital in Erlangen, which is near Nuremberg, and on the wall of the where they held the program within the clinic or the hospital, it was like a tree, and what what the people
Mm.
leaving the program on that last day, that leave
Mm.
messages for the next group. So
Oh, I love that.
that a new message,
Mm.
that a new intake of, they could say they send them to there and say these are the people that have been on previous programs, so they get that. Excuse me, they get that piece of inspiration from them guys,
Mm.
like.
Hmm.
But a rolling program, uh, I think I've heard of that before, like where people sort of just join it. There isn't like every 6 weeks. It's just they people join it, and then
Mm.
I still can't get my head around it how it all works and stuff like that. But yeah,
Got a couple of thoughts. So Sue and Granny, go back to your comment. I appreciate, how do you intervene with somebody when you see them spiraling down, right?
Mm.
And that's tough. So I mean, part of that is I think sometimes people need to get to a place where they feel that they need to make a change.
Yeah.
And I don't mean you just abandon them, turn your back on them. I
Mhm.
really agree wholeheartedly with Joe, and I don't just say this because I love her dearly. I actually truly believe her. The power of story, the power of pure connection. If there's any way to connect that person, or at least offer to connect them to somebody who has walked a path similar to theirs,
Mm.
Mhm.
will be helpful. But I mean, my history is a little bit like Joe's, right? It was not good for 20 years and abandoned by the system and all that. And if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, you got to take the self-management program," I would have done bodily harm to them because I had a lot of emotion I hadn't worked through yet. So, um, and I'm not the charming, smiling guy that you see now. That wasn't always me. I was a pretty miserable son of a bitch. So,
No
but
way.
that connection to peer, like, and telling the stories, I just we don't do that enough. I mean, societies and or civilizations for tens of thousands of years have shared their history and their life and their education through stories, and we've abandoned that. We need to reclaim it.
yeah,
So, I appreciate your concern with the person who is like, what do we do with them? And sometimes the best thing you can do is continue to just be there, listen to them, validate them,
Like the one
and
you said,
and
yeah.
and they hopefully they come back to you. The
Hmm.
other thought that I have, and Pete, I'm I have to take a step back sometimes from my sort of concern about how I'm not seeing movement sometimes in the healthcare system, and you had mentioned earlier, we're just not seeing a lot of this happening in the medical system. I'm starting to pick away a little more, and I listened to that podcast with Sean McKay from Stanford the other day, and he talked about they're starting to see in their clinics people who are reaching this point. However they got there, they're getting to this point now. And what they're saying to the Sues and the Grammys of the world is it's kind of less about the pain now. It's about growing my life.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I get it, you can't fix me, and I've done whatever I needed to do to kind of get through that.
Hmm.
But now I'm presenting to you, what can you do to help me expand my world so that
yeah,
pain is less than it?
Mm.
And I think that's where we're finding some of the misses, is because
yeah,
when that comes to a family physician or somebody, they're like, I don't know. So I think, Pete, I think it is happening. It's happening ad
yeah,
hoc. And I think the change isn't going to be from the top down. It's going to be
yeah,
a book by Tom and a conversation here and a seminar there. And it's going to happen from all different angles.
yeah.
So
Mm.
It's little steps all the time, isn't it? It's not.
yeah.
It ain't happening. But it's. I mean, from where I've sort of from where I started off in the
Mhm.
early '90s to where we are now, it's pretty Captain Kirk stuff, really.
Mm.
Yeah.
Things are moving on,
Yeah.
but I still, I suppose I'm at the lot, but I think with Tom and your stuff, with the work you do on your website, on your Facebook page, Tom, where I'm still at the coalface, like where I get the patients contact me who are super stuck, like, and there's only a certain amount of stuff I can do, many of them, as you said, Sue, is that are like, getting to that point of readiness,
Hmm.
um, but the thing is, people don't have to hit rock bottom. It's like a lift, really, like, and you could get out the lift at any floor. You know, you don't have to hit the bottom floor before your recovery starts. You can get out the lift of your journey. Other floors, like, you know, but it's how we catch them. You know, and this time of year, I mean, this time of year is for me growing stuff, like, you know, where you think, you know, I grow stuff to eat, and my little tomato plants, you know, where I don't know if you know about this, Joe. I grow tomatoes, but um, just it's very quickly. But I was growing from seed. But what I do is I get like a little container, put some compost in it, then I slice a tomato, put it in there, and then I cover it with compost, and then if I go, you know, then I cover the container up and give it a little bit of water, and now they're all coming up, you know, and
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I think I've grown over 100 tomato plants from that, like, you know, from just a few tomatoes, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with us guys, like, you know, you gotta sow the seed, but you gotta keep
Mhm.
watering it and caring for it a little bit. But I think the system, I don't, you know, it's, I think that the healthcare provider systems in a, I don't think it's in it. Well, I don't know about I don't know if it what it is around the world, but the health care system here is not in a good place at the moment because you know, with well, I don't know, sort of decision makers making poor decisions and stuff like that, you know.
Mhm.
And I think the time's a factor. But I'm all for it, you know, the education, really. But we I don't, you know, the doctors haven't, they're so, the doctors haven't got time or they haven't got the knowledge or skills, etc. Because the feedback I get from healthcare professionals. Well, we haven't got the time, you know,
Mhm.
especially a GP, general practitioner.
And they don't get compensated that way for it.
Mhm.
The
Well,
compensation isn't set up.
here it's not. Perhaps it ain't. It may not there, Tom, but
In
here
the States.
is part. They do get.
Okay.
It's part of their contract to help people.
Okay.
You know. But the thing is that a GP. I think you've only got like 5 minutes with them, really. You know, you look. It's literally a conveyor belt. You know, you feel that's how it feels. But then
Mhm.
I think they feel that they haven't got the time to
Mhm.
spend with people to, but it's just a matter of sowing seeds. But I do know GPs here in the UK that do spend a bit of time with them, and they've worked out a system where it's not just seeing them once and then we'll try this out and off you go. It's they know they do it over a series of a few weeks, like, you know. But I mean, those GPs are like rare as hen's teeth, you know. They're so few and far between. But it's
Um,
still. I mean, I still feel that we've got to get into the medical schools. Us guys, you know, we need to be not on the
Right.
periphery of it. We need to be in there. You know, I think Mary Wing down there in Australia, she's just starting to do that with I think a local hospital where she's been invited along to talk to trainee dudes, like, you know. So it's happening, but not everywhere. So.
so Joe, I just see you popped up a link to the Atlantic. Profound mismatch in modern medicine. The magic bullet quote model doctors are most comfortable with is ill-suited to some of the most disabling conditions they treat today. I haven't had time to read it.
And it just came out. I just read it today. It just came out a couple days ago. It's written by a rheumatologist, and it's specifically referring to like a fibromyalgia patient that came to him and how
Hmm.
ill-equipped him and other rheumatologists and primary
Mm.
care physicians and everyone
Mhm.
feel to treat, chronic pain and chronic conditions. But I thought it was a really good article. If anyone doesn't have access to it, because I'm a subscriber and I don't know how the Atlantic works for non-subscribers, but I can send them the article via email too if people can't access it. Like I don't know if you get free
It's paywalled.
access.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
I'll
just
send
looking.
it
It's
in the
paywalled.
email. I'll send
Yeah.
the article, but it was
Yeah.
really good. But I love the way that he ended it because he talked about how much he's learning from his patients about how to move
Mm.
forward when things aren't clear cut because they're not prepared in their education to deal with things that don't have a magic bullet fix. That
Right.
it's very, you look for the disease, the origin of the disease, and then you fix that and you're
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
that so much of what
Mm.
chronic pain is and chronic ailments in general doesn't fit that model at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the I don't know if I'm wrong in well, it's my thinking, so I can't be wrong, I guess. But are we starting to see a shift in is some of this demographic related? I think of some of the healthcare providers that I've seen or continue to see that are my age. And then I have others that are my son's age. So I'm 56 and my son's 33. And I have one doctor who's 35. That really hurts my heart. And he's a specialist and he's operated on me, so it hurts me deeply. um, but but him, he has a really different view to medicine. He sees it as person-centered and holistic. And he wasn't taught in school because we know they don't teach it. So
Mm.
is it partly his personality? Is he getting some of this exposure? Is he curious? As compared to some of the 56-year-old doctors that I see who are
Mm.
still pretty rigid and like, I'm not really, don't want to talk about that. I'm not interested. And it's more like fix you and forget you. And if I can't fix you, then I forget you. So
Yeah. Not my
I,
problem.
yeah,
I'm just
I
here to
don't have a
start my hobby.
study. I have an N of one where it's one doctorate. Well, maybe an N of five, but are we
Hmm.
seeing this? Is it me? Anybody else?
I'm seeing it, Keith. You're
Yeah.
not alone. You're not alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing hints of change,
Yeah.
and very positive hints of change. For instance, the physical therapist I saw earlier this year that I mentioned, he he we had my sessions for me, but during that whole session, each session, we talked about pain. That's what we talked about in general,
Hmm.
about chronic pain and pain in general. And he shared just as much. His 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 knowledge base was as strong or stronger than mine, and it was
Interesting.
just very encouraging to hear that, and to have that shared discussion with that healthcare professional during my treatment session. And it's
Wow.
like,
Hmm.
yeah, so and then he actually invited me. He gave a presentation. He did a little presentation on pain that he invited the public to, and he invited me to speak at that event. So
Hmm.
it that teamwork thing kind of just motivated me too, and just kind of
Mhm.
tagged in what you're saying, that change. I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think what I'm noticing, Keith, to your question of is there change, a couple things. So I do a 2-day workshop for occupational therapists, and there's actually a lot of, I don't want to say older because I'm way younger than you at 55, but
Oh, you're a kid.
I'm just a child, immature wise, but whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But I am always pleasantly surprised because I always think it'll be younger therapists that are coming in, but I'm always very pleasantly surprised that there are some older. But what I am
Hmm.
loving, because I do teach at the University of British Columbia, I teach
Mhm.
the master's level year two occupational therapy students. And more of them know so much about chronic pain. Like I
Mm.
used to go in there and everything was new and talking about
Mhm.
the nervous system was new. And I started probably about
Oh.
I think 11 or 12 years ago. And I would say, who wants to be an OT that works with chronic pain? And everyone's like staring at me. And now when I ask that question, a quarter of the hands go up and there's like 110 people. And probably 8 to 10 of them have already done a placement. So I think with all the great work that people like all of you have done, the population is being more known about chronic pain, and a lot of people with chronic pain are coming in to do to become Claire. I think you know Claire Lakes Keith from St.
Clarence, yeah.
Paul's.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she had somebody who was a person with chronic pain and then became a student, and then became an OT to work on that. So I think we're seeing like a lot of really interesting ways, but I think there is something about the younger generation that's just so much more aware, and interested. And in fact, mine went from a day to a day to 2 days because the students asked for it. They said, we need more of this. And they said, how much time, how many days do you need for this? I said, 100. How many do you
Yeah.
want? I can just keep talking. Like, let's just start and I'll just keep going until
Yeah.
all
Right.
my information's gone. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there is a higher level, and I think that is
Yeah.
talks to the advocacy work that all of you do, that I know that Pain Canada does and Pain BC,
Mhm.
but I hope it comes to fruition faster.
Sue, I'm putting another article in that
Great.
what the hell?
I've copied them all, so I'm excited to look at them
Sorry.
all. I'm
Well,
gonna
and
be
I
Yeah, I
here
just
all
got.
sent
day.
in an email. I sent the Atlantic one and the Pain one in
Oh,
case people don't
fantastic.
have
Thank
access
you.
to it. But this
Okay.
one, Keith and I were introduced to on a project that we're working on with Peter Stillwell, and Bronny's
Great.
on that too.
Cool.
It's a workshop about like can experiencing potentially painful stimuli help
Hmm.
students to better understand like the lived experiences of pain. But I thought that it was really
Oh,
interesting, so I put it in there.
interesting.
Maybe you could work some of that into your workshops and ask for another day.
Well, I have done it where I put the clothes peg on their ears.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have to wear that, or I say anywhere kind of on their body. And the first question I get is, can I take this off now? I'm
What
like,
I
no. And I said, why do you want it off? Well, because it hurts. Well, that's fine. A lot of people come to see you, and this is to clinicians, not to people in pain. Oh my gosh, let's make that clear. And I do say, if you're a clinician with chronic pain, please don't do this. But yeah, and they want to take it off,
well,
and I've said, well, you can work through the pain. People come to see you, and they have pain, and like, yeah, but I can't really focus on what you're saying. I'm like, you understand the people who come see you.
And
what I
that's
thought
Welcome to
was
our world.
yeah, what I
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
thought was cool about this paper and this the experiments or whatever they did like distributions of the experiences of the students that participated in all of this, and then part of the discussion the following week was that distribution, and that even though it's the stimulus is the same, their
Yeah.
experiences were widely different, and then
Oh, I
going through
love
why
that.
that might be.
Oh, I love
And so
that.
it just gave them like more insights into like my experience isn't the same as the student next to me's experience, and I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't seen that
Yeah.
before seeing it in this manuscript that we're writing
Yeah.
with
Well, it
Peter,
shows
and I
it
thought
shows
that
the
was interesting.
complexity, right? But it also like for my thing, when I'm working with someone, it's like, well, what outcome measure are we looking for? Because like I'm not getting better, that my pain's not done. I said, yeah, but you're sleeping better, you're moving more, you're walking more. Like,
Yes.
what is the outcome? So when you see this, that must be. I look forward to reading everything you've posted. But yeah, it is like we need different outcome measures for different people because they're all going to change differentially. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
that
the
is
complexity that adds.
that is
Go
so
ahead, Tom.
true. One of the things I talk about in my book is changing expectations from
Hmm.
pain
Mhm.
reduction. And I think this is so true with self-management. Self-management is not about pain reduction or pain elimination. It's
Hmm.
about improving quality of life, restoring
Yeah,
function, and making life
100%.
bigger than the pain.
Yeah.
And if most people if people are like me, pain may decrease as a result of it. Get to the point where like I rarely notice the pain, and when I do, it's not bothersome to me. And when I do notice it, I don't fear it, I don't worry about it, I don't think about it, I don't focus about it. I know it means me no harm. So it's it's just getting to that point, I think,
Yeah,
changing those expectations from pain reduction and elimination to quality of life, improved
focus.
function. Yes.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
I
Not
see,
to
we talk about neuroplasticity as a long, slow road to change. And so function changes first and pain changes over time. I love that. So,
Yes.
Joletta.
and not to always make everything about me, but to make it about me. I'm pretty sure Ben got that from me.
Did he?
Did he?
Take
Yeah.
credit for
At
Yeah.
it.
that
Yeah,
San Diego
absolutely.
Paint Summit where I
I
had
was
my
See?
talk,
wondering.
all my
Yeah.
slides.
Yeah.
That was my
So
pain, and the
Yeah.
life around it was like at the same size as the pain. And then I talked about my life getting bigger around the
Okay,
pain.
that doesn't
thank you,
surprise
Joe.
me.
You're in my book, but I
Yeah.
attribute it to Ben.
It's okay because Ben, I know that Ben has used it in his work and he has attributed it to me,
There you
but it was a long time ago. So
go.
but so it's just funny because,
Yeah.
and I love
We
how the synchronicity of all that,
Mhm.
like how
yes.
our group, our people have come
Yeah.
together and
It's amazing.
And it's
So
not
what?
about your idea, my idea,
no,
Ben's
no.
idea. It's just we're
When
just
it was
we're building something bigger than each and every one of us.
that was back in
And
the good old days of the San Diego Pain
Pain
Summit.
Summit. Yeah.
Mm.
I missed that. I never got to go, unfortunately.
It's pretty special. Pretty special.
Yeah,
So,
I miss
you
it.
know, hearing this Pete, what this reminds, and this is good for me because um, a while ago I went through a bit of a crisis of like, why do we even do this work and what's the point? And
What do you mean,
wanted
Keith?
to.
I've never had one of those.
No, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's 3 or 4 a year, right, Joe? And I've had to just take a deep breath and take a step back and say,
I'm done.
in and actually I did a half-ass post and I talked about change is happening and it's glacial, but it's still change. And I said to myself in my little brain, 10,000, a million years ago, somebody figured out, I don't know, the world was covered in glaciers and it slowly retreated and it left the beauty of the world that's behind us. That is beautiful change. It didn't happen quickly. So maybe the change I want is glacial, but what it will leave behind is something beautiful and
Yeah.
meaningful change. So
That's
I have
beautiful.
Well
to I
said.
have to be okay with that. And I am okay with that now. I'm not going to get out there with my blowtorch and melt it.
Right.
I'm going to let it do what it does, my part to help it, but I'm going to witness the beauty it leaves behind. It's the only way I can
That's
do
beautiful.
that. Yeah. So
Will you remind me that next time I email you or text message you that I'm quitting everything?
so Joe, instead of texting you eagles, I'll text you a glacier.
A glacier. Yeah.
There we go. So
One other
yes.
thing I had thought of before too, when we were talking about like when people are in that spiral and they're in the depths and what can you do? And sometimes it is just being there with that person in the depths, like sitting with them at that rock
Mhm,
bottom. Because one of the things I've written about and thought of so much about is that like pain can be so isolating and you can feel so alone and you're in the dark and you don't know that other people are in the dark with you. So having someone sit with you in that darkness, reach out that hand so that you know that they're there can be
mhm,
such a lifeline. And
mhm,
finally realizing that you're not alone in that pain, even
mhm,
if it doesn't change anything in that moment, it
mhm,
doesn't it doesn't necessarily have to. Like it just it lifts such a weight to know that you're not in the darkness alone or not sitting at rock bottom alone or not, on the wrong elevator that you didn't get off or on the right floor, whatever the
yeah.
metaphor is like, and
And I'll
because
tell
it
you,
can seem like you're not doing something, but you're absolutely doing something if you're sitting with someone in that place because it's such a lonely and scary place to be that just having one other person there with you makes all the difference.
a
What?
little story. Years ago, I was at a meeting, and in fact, he's an English guy, but he was telling me he lived in San Francisco, and he said that this guy he was going through a rough time, and and this guy at a meeting, he's in San Francisco, and he said to him, "Oh, I'm really, really having a rough time of it." He said, "Well, you know what you've got to do, ain't you?" He said, "Like what?" He said, "Well, go and find someone who's in a worse place than you and go and help them,
Uh, mm,
and that will take you
Perspective, though, right?
that will lift you out of where you are, like, you know."
Yeah. That's
And
like
I,
what Tom was saying about the Mayo Clinic, the gradation of people, right?
yeah,
You see that moving
yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Well, and that kind of, I know Grania had to leave, but that staggering of people coming in also starts to build capacity in the people with pain to
yeah,
help other people,
Mhm.
which
yeah,
is really
Most
important
definitely.
too.
Yeah, because what I found myself is by the end of the program is I found myself to be more of a helper
mhm,
than a
yeah.
person going through the program. And especially the second time I attended. And it's like, but even the first time, you want to reach out and let those people know that, you know,
Yeah.
that they're not alone.
And at the same time, Tom, not to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to because because that's where my head's going. But talk about giving you some control back now, right? You know, for years you feel like you've lost control of your life because but now you're in this and you're able to help people, and you're like, especially taking something that is so nonsensical and turning it into something good, and now you have that control. So
Break
it's
free
really
and take
powerful.
back your life.
There you go.
No,
Great way to wrap us
yeah,
up. Yeah.
So
there you
listen,
go.
listen.
Get off the damn elevator.
Exactly.
Hey, listen. I want to do
That'll be your book, Joe.
before we
That's a
wrap
great
up.
title.
Before we wrap up, I'm going to do a couple of adverts. On the, I think Keith's going to help out a little bit, hopefully anyway. But on the 21st of November, we're doing the very first uh, supported or cancer supported self-management conference,
Mhm.
and I'm pleased to say Joe's going to be part of that, and so I'm going to do a little recording with Joe,
Nice.
and I think Keith's going to be. I know. I think Keith, you're going to be supporting it, and also Grania and Dave Oxley, they're going to be in the background and taking the questions and stuff like that. I've got a funny feeling, so you're going to be somewhere knitted into that thing at the moment. So hold on to that thought.
I'm always happy to help.
Okay,
Always. Call
and
anytime.
don't forget
All
the
untold.
Keith. Do you want to mention the our February one? Give him a little bit of a plug.
For next year?
Yeah, give us a plug. Give us what we're doing. Do you know the date?
I don't remember it because
Yeah,
it's always it's
February.
like the third week in February and we have
Yeah,
lots of time. But Pete and I have sort of got this little train going and the little wheels are still slowly turning, but it'll be the next supported self-management conference. And we're starting to line up speakers. And every year that we do it, it's just always amazing because we get such great people who show up and share their brilliance. And you know, what's really interesting to me, Pete, is I hear because we do these things and we put them out in the ether, and you never really know. And then you run into people and they're like, "Oh, hey, I saw your thing, and I saw," and they get some feedback, and it's like,
yeah.
"Wow, that's really meaningful." But we're doing it again next year. We're going to do it until people tell us to shut up, which could happen very soon. So we're going to keep doing it as long as we can.
20th of February it is.
20th of February. That's exactly what I was going to say.
But you're living in Australia, New Zealand, in those parts, it'll be the 21st.
Well, they live in the future. They're weirdos, so
Yeah.
it's for the rest of us.
So anyway, it's been good. Thanks everybody. I thought it was going to be a very small group tonight, but it's turned out to be another fantastic conversation. I love it. You know, it's put as usual puts a lot of wind in my sails because I'm not bulletproof. I get like everybody else here thinking, what the hell am I doing this stuff for? Like you know,
Yeah, we're
and
gonna start a club, the What the Hell Club or something.
yeah, what the hell?
The hell
Uh,
am I doing this for?
yeah.
But
Oh, I'll tell you, I have to do a show. I'll tell you, I have to get some t-shirts done up for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've
be
just
a
got
good
some.
one.
I've got a new
Yeah.
t-shirt, Joe. It's in Italian, and it says "What the F." I won't say the word on here.
Yeah, we're in public.
What the F? It's in Italian, like and I've got another new one. Are you effing kidding me? But it's all in Italian, so but people won't know what it is unless you know a little bit of Italian sort of thing, like.
But Pete, for real, I feel like that would be a good t-shirt, especially for any of us that attend conferences. We could wear it. Like, what the hell am I doing here? And then people would
I'd
hopefully
be
ask
like,
us,
yeah,
what the hell
right.
are you doing here? And then we
There
could
you
tell
go.
them.
There you
Right,
go.
right, okay, I'm gonna do that
There you go. It's
in
brilliant.
Italian
Right.
or just English.
Probably English would be best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone for being with us today, and
Thanks, Pete.
wish everybody
Thanks,
well.
Pete. Thanks,
Everyone.
Keith.
And I
Thank
Yeah.
you for
Thanks,
appreciate
hosting.
guys.
Tom, so
Thank
good to
you.
see you guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
you
Congratulations
guys
on your
keep
book,
up
Tom.
well.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you
Yeah,
very
And
much.
congrats.
I think we'll be back in. We're gonna. I don't think people want to do every month today. They want to do every other month, is it?
I
I don't
think that's
mind doing
kind of
every
where we're
month.
settling in, but we'll see. We'll spring it on you guys. We'll let you know.
Yeah,
We'll keep you in suspense.
Sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah.
surprise them.
Yeah.
All right, take care, guys. Look after
All right.
yourselves.
Bye,
Stay
Thanks,
well.
everyone.
everyone.
Stay
Bye.
Bye.
well.
Thank you.
Stay
See
well.
ya.
Ciao.
Bye.